Oh, well, hello! In this lesson, we're going to be learning a little bit more about CSS. In the last lesson, we learned how to style everything by element. So, for example, the body is an element, H1 is an element. And if we wanted to style our body or all of our H1s, we could do something like this. Well, I already styled the body gray, but we could say like H1, and we could set the color to blue, right? And they would all turn blue, just like that. But let's say we didn't want to style every single H1 the same. Let's say we want all of our H1s to be slightly different or give them their own individual styles. Well, that's where ID and class comes in. We're going to have to use IDs and classes to style each one of these H1s slightly differently. So our goal is to make our first line green, our second line white, our third line blue, our fourth and fifth one yellow, and our sixth and seventh one purple. So when you want to style something individually, let's take that out. We don't want that. When you want to style something individually, you have to give it a name. Think like this. If I had a class of students and I wanted to call on one student, I'd probably have to say their name, right? I'd have to say, hey, Wesley, answer the question. Or, hey, Michael, answer the question. That way you would know which exact student I was calling on. Well, the same thing works for CSS. If you want to style something individually, you have to give it a name. So if I want to make just this H1 green, let's give it a name. And the name, in the case of HTML, is called its ID. So we're going to give this ID green. Now you could call this anything you want. You could have called this your mom.com. Actually, I'm not sure if you can have a dot in there. But you can call it anything you want. The main thing here is you should give it an ID of something that makes sense, like green. All right, so it has an ID of green. Now that it has a name, and keep in mind that it's keep in mind where I put this, don't mess that up, it should be inside of the brackets. Now that it has an ID of green, we could style this individually. The way we do it is we go to style.html, CSS, and we do hashtag green. The hashtag means look for the element with this ID. All right, so whenever you're styling by ID, you have to put a hashtag in front. So we do a hashtag green, so it's going to look up the element with the ID of green, and we just style like we would. So we just do color green. And if you look here, now my first one's green. Let's try this again. So if I want to style this second one white, we have to once again give it an ID. We're going to give it an ID of, well, what would make sense? White. We go to style. We say hashtag white. Remember the hashtag says look up the one with an ID of white. And we see color white. I think we get where this is going. You might want to try this without watching the video at this point, but if you want, keep watching here because we're actually going to move into classes. Keep watching. I take that back. So we're going to say blue. So we say ID of blue. We go to style. We say hashtag blue. We say color blue. All right, so this is looking good. We got green, white, and blue, which happens to be the UP-CHS colors. So that's great. If we want to style just one thing on the page, just remember, you just give it an ID. Step one, give it an ID, and then style that element with that ID. So give it the ID first, style that ID. Give it the ID, style that ID. Now the next thing is we're going to look at groups. Sometimes you want to style more than one thing, but not all of them. So I have all of these H1s, but I want to style both of these yellow. Now you could give these two different IDs. Like you could say ID yellow 1 and ID yellow 2 and style those both like yellow 1 is yellow 2 is yellow. But that's annoying. Sometimes you could have like 50 things that you want to be the same, and that would take a lot of time. So if you want to style more than one thing with a style, what you're going to do is give it a class. Now, just like how, let's say you have all these seniors, I have 120 seniors, but let's say you just want to talk about some of them, but not all of them. You would put them in a class, right? That's a group. So if you want to style them by a group of things, like these two want to be yellow, you could put them in their own class. So the class we're going to put these in is a class of yellow. Class equal yellow. So these two H1s are in a class of yellow. They're their own small group. Now what we're going to do is we're going to style this class. So we go here, period. And remember, when you're styling by class, you want to put a period, not a hashtag. So ID, you put a hashtag. For class, you do period. So we're going to do period yellow, and we're going to say color is yellow. And so now if we go back to our web page, you'll see that these two, which are in the same class, are now yellow. Nice. Just like Wesley and Michael. Now the next one we want to do is style these both purple. So the same thing. We're going to put these two in a class equals purple, class equals purple. And watch this. Now we do period purple. We say color purple. And let's take a look now and look at, oh, I must have spelled something wrong. That's an error. Maybe you caught it. I didn't. Purple. I spelled class wrong. 3 S's. Telling you. The number one thing, if you ever ask for help or want to know what's going on, it's 99% of the time a spelling error at this point. So let's take this, let's take a look, and look at that. They're both purple. Amazing. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys is that you can actually give things more than one class. So we could actually make a new class called like big text. So we can give each one of these a second class. So maybe they're in yellow, but let's say I want 2 of these to be big. So let's say I'm going to say a new class called big. I can give these a second class. So notice how this is yellow, and this is, so yellow big, purple big. So now I can go here, and I'm going to say dot big. And so I'm going to say, for these, I want the font size to be 100 px. You'll notice now that these two now have 100 px. So another thing you should know is that you can have more than one a class, or you could have more than one ID for everything you do. So you could have a class of yellow and big. So that's it. That's our lesson. I got nothing else. Kiss your mother, be a good person, and congratulations, you're done with this lesson. Start your exercise. It's in Google Classroom. Peace.